VTuber
Abandoned twins by depressed Nousagi, bro. Let's check this out.
companies are a dream for a great many VTubers, for aspiring content creators who wish to bring characters to life, to embody an avatar they want to be, to enact a persona, will to reality a part of themselves that would never truly be possible through normal streaming, to create complex stories through the storytelling of relationships and growth. Indies rarely ever have the avenue to make that dream a reality. But that
Fucking
golden
Philly,
ticket
dude.
into getting into a big VTuber company is a life changer for the overwhelming majority.
100%.
There are those that get into companies that aren't like that. Companies that are really only in it for the experiment, for the cash, without truly understanding this culture. And a great
We've
many
seen a couple of
unfortunate
that on the
endings
news,
come from
yeah.
that. Being rejected, being harassed, being abused, being abandoned. But what if I tell you that it's not the end of one's VTuber career when they join such agencies? Many end up broken, but very few manage to pick up the pieces, and even fewer form themselves back together.
It's never
And
the end. Never give
fewer
up.
are those that actually become stronger and succeed because of it. Today is one such story. It's not exactly a unique story, but I think there's a beauty in the fact that it is common, because it's a dream and a circumstance shared by many. This is a story of an abandoned VTuber that made it, who finally found a home. Or rather, a story of two abandoned VTubers that made it together.
Let's hear it. Some good storytelling.
It
Good
started
setup.
with a game. It wasn't a big title or some AAA endeavor, it was just a visual novel.
Okay.
Quite a popular one, in fact. And the visual novel starts with the protagonist with a lifelong dream of visiting Japan. Though he was going to be staying with a pair of siblings he met up online, and upon landing, surprise fills him as he realizes that the two siblings he thought were brothers turned out to be sisters. With the sisters, he goes on a week-long trip throughout the country, from the nation's With the sisters, he goes
The copyright McDonald's.
on a week-long
That's
trip
McDonald's
throughout the
over there?
country,
Okay.
from the nation's simple yet unique style of convenience stores to its traditional spots like Asakusa to the center of weebdom like Akihabara or even Ikebukuro. You go on a massive journey throughout Japan, learning about its culture and history while exploring its most famous landmarks. It is meant to be a travel guide with the two cute sisters going alongside you, an overview of places you might want to visit if you ever stop by in Japan in real life.
Oh, that's cool.
In the game, you form a bond with the girls, learn about them, help them discover skills and aspects of themselves that they didn't know until you came along. In essence, you become attached to them, parasocial, even. The story of the game doesn't exactly matter too much for the story of these VTubers. But the point is that the fact that you, as the player, form a bond with the sisters in the game makes it something of a great foundation for them to be VTubers. It's an industry that relies on parasociality to succeed after all. So, in the middle of the VTuber globalization, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to bring the sisters to life. A way not to just promote the game but also the brand's power and Japan's tourism industry. Especially at a time where Japan was slowly about to open themselves back to the world after COVID. And what better way to bring back life
So
to
this
their
was a
own
new
brand
one, a
and
new
ride
game.
in on the wave by getting the sisters in the game to the virtual world.
Okay. Smart. Good
On
marketing.
the 31st of July, they would debut.
Good
The
marketing.
girls, they usually play games, do little challenges, and,
That's
in line
smart.
with the niche of their game, are
This sounds
actually
like it
really
shouldn't have
well-versed and
failed.
passionate about Japan's tourism industry. The twins had great energy.
It's,
They loved streaming and gaming. The
Propaganda.
staff behind them loved seeing them do their shit and supported them however they wanted to. But some days were slow. In fact, most days were. It would be amazing for them to even crack 5,000 VOD views or even 3,000. They suffered what most other VTubers suffered when starting out. Irrelevancy, the saturation of the market, the
Irrelevancy.
failure to set themselves apart. They were a niche of a niche of a niche. And
Yeah,
while the
100%,
novelty of a
bro.
niche is sometimes
Trickle
what makes
down
certain
economics.
communities or certain VTubers succeed, it is a double-edged sword. It can make numbers a bit more difficult for people to maintain or even acquire. In the twins' case, the latter was more evident. But as I stated, they loved their job. Even if it was a bit cliche, passion was what set them apart from other VTubers their size. And thankfully, they had a team
Yeah,
that
it's
was
the
rather
rabbit,
wise in
the
their
rabbit
directing.
dude.
Since they were essentially
Yeah.
in the tourism niche, it was a natural and even a must-do in their case to reach out to overseas fan bases. So,
Yeah,
a few
that's
months later,
part of the
they
job.
did so in Reddit, the
Okay.
virtual YouTuber subreddit specifically.
Okay.
In fact, they seemed to have planned for this to happen all along, as they had made their accounts a month before their debut.
Smart.
They posted frequently in the subreddit, updating the overseas fans that they had with their posts about their streams, commenting and responding to the many that interacted with them. They
Good.
did this so many times to a point that virtually every frequent visitor of the subreddit between late 2021 to mid
Knew who they were.
2022 knew who they were, or at least have seen their faces multiple times,
That's
even if they
good.
didn't go actively watch them.
That's good.
They
It's
were
good
very
marketing.
sweet girls, the go-getting, happy-go-lucky, engaging kind of figure in the subreddit. Hell, it was even promised that they would make a sequel to the original visual novel if the twins
Word?
actually hit
A
10,000
sequel?
subscribers.
Okay.
The twins became a regular in the place,
All
and
right.
even if many people didn't know it, they brought life and engagement in that subreddit, blessing the subreddit with whatever they were doing, with their posts, with their interactions, with their little shenanigans. Even on Twitter, actually, the twins were posting
Over a video
regularly
like
there,
this?
replying to literally every
Fuck 'em.
person that they could
Real
that
life.
took the step to interact with them. They appreciated their fans and was happy to talk and converse with other VTubers. With this, they built a reputation of being absolutely wholesome. Just positivity, warmth, and good vibes through and through. It was why a lot of people liked them. In some small way, the people that did support them, however small, was something of a tight-knit community, as I've said, as is the case for many other small VTubers and their small communities. However,
Here's
a
the
tight-knit
knockdown.
community was not what was going to satiate investors or higher-ups or hell, even feed a family.
True.
A tight-knit community
It's
was
not
not
enough.
what was going to
It's
make
not enough.
businessmen happy.
Yep.
Out of nowhere, the twins announced their graduation on the 11th of October in 2022, priming the end of their activities by the 5th of November, leaving them with roughly 3 weeks to wrap up their activities. The sudden announcement shocked everyone, suffice to say. One of the more beloved small figures in the subreddit was going to go away. If you did not frequent Reddit
That
or
means
was not aware or
that
even seen
subreddit
the
might
girls
just
before,
die. Yeah.
it's really easy to dismiss them as one of the many graduations and failed VTubers that happens every month. After all, random 2 or 3 views graduating is not exactly industry-shaking news. Who
But
cares?
these people had a lot
Graduations
of
are
pull
inherently not something
in that
worth
small
covering all the
community.
time. At most, what was going to happen was that the subreddit was going to have one less regular poster, one less not so influential VTuber down the drain. But the
Shit.
fan base and community members that recognized the girls were different. Some of them were fiercely passionate about the girls the same way the girls were of them. Some of them spread word around. One of them started petitions and reached out to popular content creators to bring it to the greater public.
So people would
Some
know.
of them started buying the game in an act of solidarity. Somehow, the graduations of these
That's
girls
big.
spread far
That's
and wide.
big.
That yellow jacket under
That's
their
big.
respective blue and pink shirts became recognizable. Iconic, even. The reasons for the graduations weren't entirely specified, but what did matter was the fact that the twins did not want to graduate. They wanted to stay here, continue VTubing, they had fun, and that was mostly what mattered to them. And those facts led to one very reasonable presumption. That the reason for their graduation were simply that the girls were not bringing in the necessary numbers. They were not profitable, they were not enough.
Yeah, not enough for
It was a
big,
final decision.
big corporation. Yeah.
One that would never be overturned. A decision that would come to its ultimate fruition in 3 weeks' time.
Probably be good for indie.
But alas,
yeah.
the clock tolled and their graduation came. In it, they talk about their favorite moments throughout their short but sweet career. Tears were shed, vulnerabilities exposed, their community as a whole gathered for one last farewell. Many hoped they didn't have to graduate. Many of them wanted to reappear somewhere. Maybe as indies, maybe in an agency somewhere, but for now, absolute silence. Weeks passed. Months. Most people had moved on, off and away to find other small or big VTubers to want to support. After all, graduations happen every day somewhere in this industry. It is unproductive to stay dedicated to just one VTuber, to grieve the loss of one content creator.
When there's so many.
That was
right?
until 8 months later, where Hololive released their new gen. The twins seen in the teaser
Cool
made for
ass
some of the
animation.
wildest speculations. Whereas only a couple thousand people were aware of the lost twins, word of their story and their tragedy spread far and wide, to a point of it becoming mainstream. The newly informed became curious of their potential presence in Hololive, with many even rooting for it to happen. They were twins that wanted to stream, they were passionate of content creating, and the prospect of them going to Hololive was exciting. It was a story of an underdog who won. Yet another girl, or rather two girls, that Yago saved. It was a dream come true, not just for their former fans, but even for the twins themselves. When the twin popsters were revealed, their numbers outpaced everyone. After all, the concept of twin VTubers sharing a channel is not exactly new, but it is still novel, especially in Hololive and in EN.
Yeah, something big, like a huge company
Excitement
to do that.
was through the roof. Questions rapid-fired. Did Hololive structure their channel specifically for them? Didn't that mean that Hololive took the extra step to cater to the twins' wishes? Gave them an avenue to truly let them control how they wanted to produce their content?
I thought Hololive was pretty lenient with the way that they let the people structure their content. I don't
Were they why the audition and
I don't know.
debuting process takes so long? That would have been one of the many reasons, right? After all, financially speaking, it wouldn't make sense. Hololive would have been able to benefit from two channels rather than one.
True.
Hololive would have benefited
Well, no, not well. Maybe.
rushing their
Maybe.
debuts, especially since it was entire years since their last EN generation. Hololive could have completely ignored them.
True. They could.
Many former fans refused to take in the hype and hope that it was going to be them. Some former fans didn't want to expect much anymore, didn't want to be hurt. But as the dawn of their debut came, they heard two familiar voices. When a story ends, another begins. In this
So they
industry,
say.
many stories end permanently, but not all of them has to have the endings set in stone. Some may choose to rise up, or hell, even double down. Some to change. And the twins, well, you can guess
07.
what decision they wish to do with their ending. Their story is a very common one. Their desire is one shared by many. The desire to make it, the
Yeah.
desire to be
They
accepted,
tried 3
to be
times and then they
appreciated,
finally got accepted.
valued,
They kept
by
trying. They
communities,
never
by
gave up.
peers, by even agencies. Theirs is a story only the fortunate and skilled few can experience. Theirs is a narrative that drives many people to dream, that inspires and motivates many VTubers to try. The ending of this video will be open-ended, perhaps even unsatisfactory to many people. But that's because this is only the beginning of the twins' story. Many people are happy for them. Many people celebrated their success. Under a new name, the twins finally start a new chapter. And it will be written that theirs is a story of two sibling puppies once abandoned that finally found a home. Of two sisters that made it together.
Let's go. It's good. It's great storytelling. I like how he went into their past life to let you know the reason why these two girls are important. I really did, and I really did enjoy that video. That was great. Shout out to Depressed Nousagi. Shout out to X49 for dick riding him so hard it made me check him out. So yeah, that was great.